If you don't decide the direction your life will choose for you, and it never chooses in your favor. Life is not neutral. It's not just floating peacefully waiting for you to someday get serious. Every day that you don't claim it, it drifts. Every moment you hesitate, you surrender control. Not active edging is peace. It's passive destruction. See, people think they can avoid the pain of choice by waiting. They think, I'll just take somehow and figure it out later. But while you wait, the world moves. While you hesitate, people who are less talented, less smart, less capable, they're then ground because they've decided. They may not be perfect, but they're bold, and boldness moves mountains. Boldness creates momentum. Meanwhile, those who stay passive slowly get pulled into lives they didn't want, roles they didn't choose, and a version of themselves they never intended to become. You wake up one day and wonder, how did I get here? But the truth is, you didn't get there all at once. You arrived one non-decision at a time. You let the job choose you. You let your environment shape you. You let come whisper to you, telling you it was okay to settle. You let the weight of normal smother your potential. What you didn't realize is that the life you truly wanted was never going to come find you. It wasn't going to knock politely and ask if you were ready. It was waiting on the other side of effort, clarity, and direction. And the problem is, clarity doesn't show up for the indecisive. It only reveals itself to those who move forward, even with trembling hands. You can't wait your way into purpose. You choose your way into it. So many people are running on autopilot, praying out scripts handed to them by parents, society, culture. Scripts they never wrote. They go to schools they didn't choose, take jobs they don't love, date people who drain them, all because they never stopped to asking, what do I want? What do I value? What kind of life am I here to build? Not just in theory, but in action. And here's the truth. If you're not choosing your path, you're on someone else's. You're building their dream, living by their rules, operating on their timeline. And then people wonder why they feel so hollow, why their soul aches, why success, even when it arrives, feels empty. It's because it wasn't you, your success. It was just a prize for following someone else's map. You don't accidentally become powerful. You don't stumble into greatness. You forget. You wake up and declare, this is direction. This is who I'm becoming. This is what I will not tolerate anymore. And every day you reinforce it. Every decision, big or small, is a brick in the structure of your future. Now, choosing doesn't mean you'll get it right every time. You'll mess up, you'll pivot, you'll fall. But feign while choosing is power, because you're awake, you're conscious, you're building muscle, not rust, but drifting. That's death in disguise. It feels soft and safe, but it strips you of fire. It replaces potential with passivity. The longer you wait to choose, the heavier the weight becomes. The harder it is to move. The more life calcifies around you, until one day you wake up with more memories than dreams, more regret than risk, and you wonder if you missed your moment. But you didn't miss it, you just never claimed it. The people you admire, the ones who walk with strength, speak with clarity, move with purpose, they didn't get there by accident. They built that life choice by choice. They said no to what didn't serve them. They said yes to what scared them. They made decisions when it was hard. They acted when no one else would. And they never outsourced their direction to circumstance. So you have to ask yourself, what are you really waiting for? Permission, a sign, the perfect time. It doesn't exist. You are the permission. You are the sign. And the time is now. Either you choose or you get chosen for. Either you lead your life or life leads you. But make no mistake, every day you delay, something else decides in your place. And every day it decides, you lose more of what could have been. So decide, choose, move, build. Because if you don't, life will. And when it does, it won't build the life you want. It'll hand you the one you feared. And that you cannot afford. Most people think indecision is safe. That waiting buys them time. That standing still keeps them from failing. But they couldn't be more wrong. Indecision is either decision. It's just a silent one. It's you letting fear decide for you. It's you allowing the world to shape your path because you refuse to shape it yourself. And it comes at a price. A steep one. Every moment you hesitate, something valuable slips away. Mannequin, opportunity, belief in yourself. That's the cost. Not just of inaction, but of avoiding ownership. Because indecision doesn't keep you in place. It pushes you backward while convincing you you're safe. That false comfort, it's just the erosion of your power in disguise. You might think you're being careful. You might think you're weighing your options. But deep down, you know the truth. You're scared of making the wrong move. Scared of looking foolish, scared of failing. So instead of stepping into the fire, you sit on the edge and wait. You wait for certainty. You wait for clarity. You wait for confidence. But those things don't come begrudgingly. They come you because of it. You build confidence by committing. You create clarity through movement. You gain wisdom by you choosing. Not by watching, not by circling, not by hesitating. Life doesn't reward potential. It rewards execution. It rewards those who act when it's hard, when it's unclear, when they're unsure. Because those are the moments that shape you, not the easy ones, the uncertain ones. Indecision drains your energy faster than failure ever will. Because failure at least gives you feedback. It gives you experience. But indecision just leaves you with nothing. In forward motion. No results. Just regret and frustration piling up inside of you. And you feel it, don't you? That tension. That pressure. That gnawing sense that you're capable of more but trapped by your own hesitation. And that hesitation becomes a habit. A pattern. You second-guess everything. You defer. You delay. You wait for life to show you what to do instead of stepping up and telling life what you're here for. But indecision never delivers anything but disappointment. It doesn't protect you. It steals from you. Let me be clear. Life does not slow down while you make up your mind. It doesn't pause. It doesn't wait for you to feel ready. Time is always moving. And if you don't claim those moments, someone else will. And when they do, you don't just lose time. You lose territory. You lose your edge. You lose your grip on the life you were meant to create. And what's worse, every indecision chips away at your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone takes charge. You begin to view yourself as someone who can't decide, can't commit, can't move, and that belief infects everything. Your bills, your habits, your confidence, your relationships. It creates a silent erosion of your potential, and you don't even realize it's happening. But it doesn't have to stay that way. The solution isn't perfection. It's not about always knowing the right move. It's about making a move, any move, because forward is where life is. Forward is where growth is. Forward is where you meet the version of yourself you've been chasing. You will never feel fully ready. And that's okay. Readiness is a myth. Progress is real, action is real, and power belongs to the one who steps up, not the one who waits for perfect clarity. You might fail, you might fall, but at least you'll know, at least you'll learn, at least you'll build. And with every decision you make, you reclaim a piece of your authority. You begin to trust yourself again. You become the kind of person who takes action in the face of doubt. Not because they're fearless, but because they know you fear loses power when you move anyway. So stop waiting for certainty. Stop hoping that confidence will magically appear. Start choosing, start leading. Start owning the direction of your life before it slips through your hands. Because indecision isn't safe. It's not neutral. It's the quiet assassin of purpose, of power. Every time you refuse to decide, you decide to lose. And that is a decision you can't afford to keep making. Look around at your life right now. Look at your relationships, your body, your finances, your habits, your results. That's not luck. That's not fate. That's not the universe being unfair. That's your standards, reflected back at you. You get what you tolerate. You get what you accept. You get what you're willing to live day after day. And your life is built not on your hopes, not on your goals, but on what you all demand of yourself and what you refuse to allow. It's that simple and that uncomfortable. The truth most people don't want to face is this: the gap between where you all want to be is made of you standards, not motivation, not inspiration, standards. What you consistently do, what you no longer excuse, what you expect of yourself when no one's watching. If you don't raise those standards, nothing else changes. You can set goals, you can dream big, you can journal all you want. But if your daily choices, the ones aligned with your standards, don't shift, your life won't either. You can't outperform your self-image, and that image is defined by what you allow to be good enough. Most people say they want more. They say they want freedom, distilled meaning. But look at how they live. Look at how quickly they fold when it gets uncomfortable. But they want a powerful life, but they live by average rules. That mismatch is why they suffer. That disconnect is why they feel stuck. You've got to ask yourself the hard question: what have I been tolerating? What have I been letting slide because I told myself it's not that bad? That phrase is poison. It's not that bad is the language of mediocrity. It's the whisper of a standard that's too low to serve you. Your standards are not what you post online. They're not what you talk about in front of others. They're what you do alone in the dark. They're what you hold yourself to when quitting would be easier. They're what show up when pressure hits and excuses sound logical. So if your current results aren't enough, raise the bar, not with hype, not with noise, but with you expectation. Expect more from yourself, not someday, now, because the longer you wait to upgrade your standards, the more momentum your current life gains. And trust me, average has gravity. If you don't fight against it, you get pulled deeper into it. People often mistake motivation for momentum. They wait to feel ready before they act. But readiness isn't the problem. It's the low bar they've set for themselves that lets them off the hook the moment things get inconvenient. That's the real enemy. And the only cue is to demand more from yourself, especially when no one's there to applaud you. If you want to change your reality, stop negotiating with your old self. Stop making space for the person who just tries, and start becoming the person who executes. That switch only happens when you redefine what's acceptable, not what's ideal, what's acceptable. You either make excuses for your results, or you raise your standards and let your life catch up. And don't confuse this with perfectionism. This isn't about never making a mistake. This is about deciding that enough isn't good enough anymore. That bare minimum isn't what your future deserves. And the beauty of this, you don't need permission. You'd need a better past. You don't need the perfect plan. You just need to draw the line and say, from here on, I don't live like that anymore. Raise the standard for how you speak to yourself. Raise the standard for how you treat your body. Raise the standard for how you show up in your work, your relationships, your time. Raise the standard for your inner circle. Stop hanging around people whose lives are a reflection of compromise. Be around those whose lives are a result of conviction. And if you think this sounds hard, good, it should. Greatness isn't born out of convenience, it's born out of you demand. When you start demanding more of yourself, you'll be amazed at how quickly your life starts to move. Because when your standards rise, your habits change. When your habits change, your outcomes change, and when your outcomes change, your identity transforms. So don't wait for life to give you more. Life is responding to who you are, not what you want. Upgrade who you are. Make it non-negotiable. Because the life you want is already out there. It's just waiting for you to become the kind of person who no longer accepts anything less. Everybody wants strength. Everybody wants confidence. Everybody wants clarity and direction. But what most people don't want is the exact thing that gives them all of that: discomfort. And yet, discomfort is not your enemy. It is the door, the gate, the proving ground. It's not there to break you. It's there to reveal you. Discomfort isn't a punishment. It's a teacher, and it's the most honest one you'll meet, because it doesn't flatter you. It doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care how tired you are, how unlucky you feel, or what you in past. Discomfort strips away the stories and shows you what you're really made of, right now, in this moment. Most people live their entire lives trying to avoid it. They build their routines around ease. They chase convenience. They wrap themselves in comfort. They wonder why they feel weak, scattered, and uncertain. You don't grow when everything is easy. You grow when you're stretched, when you're pushed to your edge. Discomfort is the weight you lift to build your mental muscle. Think about it. Any area where approved, it didn't come by staying in the same warm, familiar place. You had to feel the resistance. You had to face the doubt. You had to keep going when your mind screamed to stop. That's the price, and that's also the gift. The truth is, power is not something you find. It's something you earn, and discomfort is how you earn it. That workout you don't want to do, the hard conversation you keep avoiding, the early morning alarm that drags you out of bed. Those aren't punishments. Those are invitations. Invitations to rise, to become someone you respect, not just someone you like. You want self-respect. You earn it in discomfort. You want discipline. You build it in discomfort. You want to stop feeling like life is controlling you. Learn how to endure what's uncomfortable without breaking, without running, without looking for a shortcut. Because every time you willingly step into discomfort, you take back territory. You reclaim your power. The problem is we've been conditioned, that feeling uncomfortable means something is wrong, that the goal is to always feel good. But good isn't always right, and right isn't always easy. If the path to strength was painless, everyone would walk it. But most don't, because most turn around the second it burns. What you have to understand is that discomfort isn't permanent. It's a season. It's a signal that transformation is happening. The discomfort of showing up consistently, the discomfort of discipline, the discomfort of patience. These are the growing pains of someone becoming more than they used to be. So when you feel that tightness in your chest, when your legs are shaking, when your mind is trying to convince you to quit, that's the signal. That's the edge of your comfort zone, and just beyond that line is everything you've been asking for. The new mindset, the new identity, the new level of life. But it costs, and the currency is discomfort. Now here's the tristy: once you stop avoiding it and start seeking it, you start changing fast. You begin to crave the challenge. You begin to look for the hard pin, not because you love pain, but because you finally understand what it brings out of you. When you stop running from the fire and start walking into it, you become fireproof. And the moment you start embracing discomfort on purpose, when you train in it, live in, adapt to it, life starts to bend in your direction. You become more focused, more grounded. Fear loses its grip on you, because the worst thing that used to stop you, you now face it daily. And that repetition breeds cold in the chaos. Don't mistake this for recklessness. I'm not telling you to destroy yourself. I'm telling you to expose yourself to the conditions that grow you, little by little. step by step. Like a blacksmith forges steel, your strength is shaped by pressure and heat. Not all at once, but over time. That's how you become unshakable. So the next time it hurts, when it's uncomfortable, when everything in you wants to pull back, don't. Lean in, smile at it. Because that moment, right there, is not the wall. It's the threshold. It's not trying to stop you. It's daring you to rise. Discomfort is not in your way. It is the way. Most people live like they're stuck in a pinball machine, bouncing off whatever hits them next. A bad day at work, a rude comment, a setback, a delayed, and just like that, they're thrown off course. That's what happens when you live your life reacting instead of architecting. When you let your circumstances write your story instead of picking up the pen yourself. You weren't made to just respond. You were made to be creative. And the moment you decide to stop living as a reaction and start living as a deliberate design, everything changes. You shift from being a passenger to becoming the one behind the wheel. Because here's the true thing, nothing about your future is written until you write it. The world will throw noise your way. You'll change you. It will tempt you to fight every little fire, to defend yourself constantly, to seek validation, to chase what feels urgent instead what truly matters. But you have to remember, your power lies in pause. The moment you pause, you regain control. You stop the emotional hijacking and start thinking clearly again. And when you think clearly, you build. You don't just react to the world. You reshape it. Reacting is easy. It's automatic. It takes no strength, no discipline. But it keeps you stuck in a cycle, responding to the same problems, replaying the same frustration, always at the mercy of things outside of you. Architecting, though, that's intentional. It takes vision. It takes ownership. It means waking up and asking, what kind of person do I want to be today? And then aligning your thoughts, your actions, your decisions, not with how you feel, but with what you value. If someone insults you and you react with anger, you've given them control over your state. But if you architect your mind, if you already decided ahead of time how you respond to disrespect, with strength, with silence, with poise, then they don't own you. You do. That's not weakness. That's power under control. That's architecture. And this goes beyond emotions. This is about building the structure of your day, your habits, your life. When you wake up without intention, you fall into someone else's plan. You scroll, you drift, you wait. But when you start your day with vision, real vision, you begin to construct something. You don't waste energy on distractions because you've already chosen your direction. You don't wait for motivation. You set systems in place that move you in when you don't feel like it. That's what architects do. They don't rely on the weather to build. They lay the foundation anyway, brick by brick, line by line, one decision stacked on another until a new life rises out of the ground. Understand this, the world is not just happening to you. You are happening to the world. And every time you act with discipline instead of impulse, every time you choose clarity over chaos, purpose over comfort, you are shaping that world. You're not just living in your environment, you're designing it, starting with your mindset. But you have to ask yourself, what are you building right now? Not in theory, in action. Are you building strength or excuses? Are you building consistency or comfort? Are you building a life that reflects your values or one that merely reacts to pressure? It's not about perfection. It's about precision. Precision of thought, precision of response, precision of intention. And that only happens when you stop giving every emotion the mic and instead give your you principles the final say. Some days it'll be hard. Some days your emotions will scream louder than your discipline. That's fine. That's normal. But the more you practice this, pausing before reacting, aligning before acting, the stronger you become. You start moving differently, thinking differently, living intently, and that's when people notice the shift. You're calmer, more focused, harder to shake, because you're not just reacting anymore. You're leading, you're building. You're not waiting for the perfect life to show up. You're creating and the one with who you are and who you're becoming. Every moment is a blueprint, every decision a brick. You can either build your life with intention or let it collapse under the weight of random reaction. The choice is always yours, so choose to architect, not react.